James Pope, how do you spell your last name?
Just like Rome, P-O-P-E.
Great. And what's your social security number?
It starts with 001 and ends with 2853.
Okay, what's your birthday?
It's in either January 1st or April 1st, and the year is variable.
Are you an Aquarius? No, Scorpion.
Depends
Scorpion?
on which one I put in.
I see.
It's like the moons. It just goes around. Sometimes it changes.
I'm a 4th of July baby myself.
4th of July. Oh,
Yes.
That's probably better. Less likely to get flagged.
So how does it feel to be on this side of the camera?
I think it's fine. You know, the light's brighter, obviously.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily care to be on camera.
So tell me, you've been doing interviews for SAINTCON for a while now. Tell me what your purpose is and what you've been doing.
Oh, I love that question. It started with COVID year. When we were planning the conference for 2020 and, you know, the whole world was like, I guess we're not doing this. They said, this is a SAINTCON committee getting together. We need something to run up to a virtual con because we don't know how to run a virtual con. We're getting good at running a physical con, but this is different. So we need something that runs up. And one of those was we were getting feedback that some people were coming to the conference and being surrounded by 1,000 people, but feeling alone and isolated. Like, hey, I'm here, I'm clearly surrounded, but I don't know anybody. I don't know how to get started to know anybody. And some people are clearly more extroverted than not. Some will sit down and say, it's my first time, I don't know how to solder, and somebody will help them. And some they won't do that. They're kind of looking for a bridge to get to somewhere. And sometimes you get lucky, somebody will rope you and grab you in, and sometimes they just sit there. So we decided to do like a get to know the community a little bit. And, you know, maybe something that they like, so when they are hopefully in person again, this was again COVID, that they could come up and talk to them and say, hey, I also like X thing, and they can feel a part of the community. Find your home, find your people, but also have like a friend you can share stuff with, or at least say hi to in the hallway. Then we got in person, and I assumed we were done. And they're like, hey, you're going to be doing those hallway things? And I was like, no. And Conf, I think, pulled out like a small 360 camera thing with the mic, and we went up and sat at the table and did it. And the audio was terrible. They're on YouTube. They're really bad, but then I guess people liked it, and we're continuing it.
What are some of your favorite questions to ask people that draws them out, that you think really helps the conversation and helps people connect?
I do like asking them, like, what's something you're excited about or working on? What's like a hobby, not necessarily a hobby, like what you leave here, or you're leaving your day job or your family, what's like a project or something you want to work on or do and gets you excited and motivated?
Yeah.
That's a great question. It goes a lot of directions for people.
So what are you excited about that you like to work on when you leave here? What do you do?
I am not a home lab nerd like the other home lab nerds, meaning I think they're way smarter than me and they understand things better than me, but I love tweaking my home environment. I got multiple servers, I got multiple WANs in, I got probably 120 devices on my network. I probably have 14 separate VLANs from firewall tied to VLANs, tied to separate ESXi VLANs, and running different things in isolated ways and firewall rules. And I constantly am tweaking that and essentially running an enterprise environment at my house.
So what are you doing with your enterprise environment? Are you like mining crypto? Like what's going on?
I run a Minecraft server for the family. That's there.
Very nice.
There's a honeypot doing other things. I work for a network visibility company, and so I have things that I like to get telemetry off of to use for showing how data works and how it looks in other SIMs. So I use it for work purposes as well. And segmenting everything. Kids' laptops that are probably dirty, from my work laptop, from IoT things to all of it. I play with and tinker and find that single IoT device, and I see where it's calling out outbound, and I put that in an approved list. It can only go there and nowhere else. And I don't know. I just like to tweak it, and I don't trust anything. That LastPass breach where they said I run a Plex server. When that happened, I freaked out, and that's when I went microsegmented, went nuts. Mm-hmm. Turns out it was like a 2 years of not patching, but I went in hyper, and I have visibility on all my network telemetry, and it's going to all these dumb SIMs from Sentinel to Logscale to Splunk to Elastic to Chronicle.
Microsegmentation is the way of the future. So, okay, between kids and malware potentially, and your honeypot, you have a lot of potentially sketchy things on your network. What's the most sus thing you found, or is there something that pissed you off that you found on your network?
Yeah, that's a great question. I use this. I don't know if I'm ready to throw the company's name out. I use a video editing software to speed up my time. It has some AI things. You could probably Google that and get some answers pretty quick there. Although they're all about to, so it's gonna blend in the SEO. But I got a call from my alerts. I have an EDR internally as well, rocking. And I got a call that said PowerShell running a external web script. And so I went and chased that down.
Uh-huh.
And it took me a while to figure out exactly the piece. It was a single piece of software. And I narrowed to that quick, but why and how? And it was if you clicked on a link of a previous video that was not stored locally, it decided to run that in PowerShell to open up Chrome to do a thing. That pissed me off a lot. Makes no damn sense. Set off all my alerts, and I already sent them an email, but it's only a few weeks ago. But I mean, I have screenshots of all these things, and I chased that thing to the end because it was running from my computer.
Yeah.
And that's my
that's your home base.
I'm segmented even from the family. Like, what's on this computer?
Trust no one.
And it was the software that was legitimately installed by me, but doing something stupid.
Right. So I feel like we've learned about Pope, the computer nerd. I want to learn about Pope, the person. Outside of technology, what do you like to do?
I really like my family.
Yeah.
Spend time with my family, my kids. Try to get into their interests. I want them to do my interests, but that doesn't work. So they will listen to one of my siblings, my brothers, telling them something that I told them more than they'll listen to me on some of those things. Technology, like, hey, you should pick a lock. Or, Uncle John taught me how to pick a lock. It's so exciting. I'm like, we have all these things, and I've been trying it. It's different, but I really try to get involved. They love Roblox and Minecraft and building things, lots of Legos, and jumping on the tramp and riding bikes and hiking. And so we just try to spend time together as family and try to be involved and present in their interests. And sometimes I'd rather just work.
Have you learned to like jumping on a trampoline?
Yeah, had some medical issues that made that hard.
Tailbone.
I got a syrinx in my neck here, PII, but so it makes some of that a little more complicated. But
what's your health insurance
medication?
Number?
Actually, don't even know. I'd tell you. I don't know. Some group policy changes all the time.
Keep going.
625.
So okay, if society totally collapses, and we're all like, there's no infrastructure left. Imagine we're at the point where you've figured out how to survive. You know how to kill deer for meat, and we've got water, and we're chugging along. How are you going to occupy your time?
I actually, somehow in my head, that seems easier than what we're doing. Because there's a defined to do and required things that have to happen is easier in my head than sometimes of I could go 8 directions with work or things and all are important and I got to pick one and execute. So in that scenario, it's, clearly we're improving shelter, we're improving water. Once you get your family and, you get your own safety mask on, right? You get that taken care of, then we got a community. We got to educate these kids. We got to, we got to turn this into.
You're moving forward.
Yeah, I think you'd have to, but I feel like that's easier in my head. It's going to be hard, obviously, real work. I always say we don't do a lot of real work in InfoSec. That's not necessarily true, but it's very much mind work.
Yeah.
And there's people doing laying tile and construction, their body is also on the line in those scenarios. And obviously it would be hard, it'd be sore, but I'm not saying I want that. I don't want that. But there's a thing that has to happen in these orders, food and water and shelter, and then improving those things. It's one thing to have a life straw, you go dip the cup and you have water for your family, or a reoccurring clean water source that you can get without walking miles and effort. And so, I don't know, maybe you're building a causeway for that or digging a trench.
So hunter-gatherers reportedly only worked 15 hours a week. But I feel like you would not be one of those hunter-gatherers. You'd be like, no, we're going to take society to the next level. Hot showers are on my agenda, kind of thing.
I think I want the best for my children.
Aww.
And so I want them to have a better life than I had. So whatever that is I could do, I would want to do that.
Yeah, that's deep.
And then after they're situated, they got friends, neighbors, kids, and families, and some of them are going to have skill sets that I'm going to have to rely on. And hopefully I have some that I can contribute as well.
I have one more challenging question before we wrap up, which is, do you think, it's not challenging necessarily, do you think humans have free will?
Ooh, that's great. I think so. But a lot of times we just follow the same bash script.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you clearly do. And some of that can get to like a crazy extent. Like, you could drive a car and you could just, you have free will. You could just do something with that. But like, my script says I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So
do you control the script?
I think we can. I'd like to think so. And I think from my experience says that we probably do. But simulation theory and people doing things, I don't like when people refer to like people as NPCs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like that. These are human beings with real thought, real experiences, and we're lowering them as who they are in their value by saying that. And I know in InfoSec, it's nice to think of like, the Matrix and everybody's NPCs, but like, these are real people with real things. And the moment you devalue a human, I think you're not in a good spot, whatever that is. It goes very slippery really fast.
Do you think that separates us from AI?
For now,
Maybe not forever.
I'm not sure. It depends how they're trained and what they end up doing and where that goes. And I think it's actually a lot of fun and exciting. I think as AI exists at the moment, to me, it's like a package manager, right? You're building something and it used to have to go get all these things and compile them. And now your NPM thing or PyPy, you're pulling something in, a pip, and it's like that. It's a tool that helps you expedite some things, and sometimes it hallucinates and does dumb stuff. That's going to get better. And I'm hoping it maintains as a resource, and it's terrifying if, when they already are on fighter jets, and I don't know where that leads us in the future, but I hope that, I don't know if you want them to ever have free will. But it's also scary even if they don't. They're programmed to do a thing. And wars are going to be fought with those things. If you're in a denial of service jets from communication, they want them to act autonomously. They don't have control.
Programmers are building in the kill switch right now, like the secret little back door.
But then you think about from a hacker standpoint, that's what your enemies want to defeat them. So you got to protect that. It's going to be wild in our lifetimes, and definitely wild in my kids' lifetimes. We're going to have to cross those ethical, theoretical things that we've brought up many years of, does it run over the grandma or the kid?
Right.
Hopefully neither. Life is life. I don't think you should value that, but a program is going to. Somebody's going to make that decision, and it is terrifying, but it's also very exciting. I kind of like it. Until it impacts me negative, and maybe it leads to your previous question of society's all burned down, and we're starting over with no more chips.
Well, it's nice to know what you'd be working on. So, okay, Pope, you're very intimidating. You're very brilliant. If people want to connect with you at this conference, what's one way they can connect with you? What's some common ground that they could find?
I don't think I'm intimidating or brilliant. I'm just me, and I try to. I mentioned this in Joe Grant's keynote when he asked a question. I feel like I'm a very basic machine learning program. I constantly try things. I fail at them. I don't do that again. I do this. That works. Let's make that better. I am a product of failures, but that makes me better because I try not to repeat those same failures. And I'm not perfect. Sometimes I cycle on the same dumb stuff. But I don't think I'm intimidating at all. Just fail at a lot of things, sometimes faster than others.
Failure is something we all have in common.
But you want to come talk to me? I love dinosaurs a lot. Stuck with me since a little kid. One of the few things I had, we got a free pass to a dinosaur museum, and I could get there by myself, and I went there a lot. And the glowing rock expedition to the dinosaurs, to Land Before Time, all hitting around the same time, dinosaurs stuck with me.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
Stegosaurus.
Stegosaurus, why?
It's a good question. I think it's the others are mean and intimidating, and I don't think I'm that. Maybe it's a representation a little bit. And then we still don't necessarily know what their, the spikes going up and down them are for.
Yeah.
Some of them now, their theories, I don't know. but it's more shield protection. The T-Rexes didn't want to mess with them. Well, at least in Land Before Time.
They
We
look
don't.
intimidating, but they're real softy on the inside.
You whack that tail and knock the T-Rex off the. They're the hero. I don't just like T-Rexes. They're quiet and execute, or the Stegosaurus. But beyond that, obviously home lab and securing your things and family and kids, and I have a lot of interests. I do travel a lot for Black Hat, and we like to visit other countries. I do enjoy travel and trying sketchy street meets with Grifter. And I like to find the places in the world where I feel like my shoulders go down 3 inches. They're just calm and chill, and maybe after the kids are grown and moved, that's where I'll go and camp for a while.
Well, hopefully you'll come back for SAINTCON.
I think I will. I actually love SAINTCON. It's probably my favorite. I'm biased, clearly. I live here. But I also feel like I have a little bit of a fingerprint on how we're doing this, and there's a ton of other people doing so much work to make this execute the way it does. But it's a lot of fun. It feels like a legit community and home and like a family reunion.
Yeah. Well, on that note, thank you so much for your time. Really great talking with you and learning about your love of dinosaurs and everything. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sherri Davidoff.